I would like to call this February meeting of the Lee County Board of Education to order. I certainly want to welcome all our guests, in particular Lori Salafia from the military. Do you have something to address us with, Lori?
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Bryan for attending the educators meeting on Fort Bragg. It was a great forum for meeting the superintendents in the 9 surrounding counties, the new garrison commander, and Colonel Moss. The forum covered the responsibilities of the SLOs at Fort Bragg and Pope Army Airfield. Superintendents from the 9 districts highlighted the great programs and educational opportunities for our students in North Carolina. One area of concern by all superintendents regarded the hiring of military spouses who have teacher certification in other states. The concern here is the amount of time it takes to get certified in North Carolina and the pay scale at which they begin. Suggestions included something like the Interstate Compact for spouses with teaching degrees from other states. So, as school liaisons, we have heard that, and we are going to bring that to our biannual meeting in March 3rd, where all the SLOs from different branches of the service meet, and we're meeting at Seymour Johnson. The second area of concern was the APIN, and for those of you who don't know, that's an after-school program that the Army has, and there was talk about it being cut. So the garrison commander and the community agencies are working to see if this is a financial issue, a background check concern, or other area of concerns to see what they can do to save the program. Several superintendents mentioned that cutting this program would be detrimental to their counties. I also would like to let everyone know that as a school liaison, I am here to available to visit programs or come out to the schools to share the resources that I have for military students. Lastly, Pope Army Airfield will have a mock deployment during spring break for children, for Air Force children ages 6 through 13 during spring break. They have not come up with a final date yet, but parents will be able to sign their children up the first week of March. Children will actually meet at the Logistic Readiness Squadron and experience what it is like for their parents to go through what they go through prior to deploying. They will start by getting information and resources from various agencies on the base. They will receive dog tags, orders, and pretend vaccinations. The children will then go through various briefing presentations concerning the area that they are being deployed to. We are hoping to get bus transportation to see an Air Force plane or equipment and provide them with lunch. And as soon as I have that date, I will let somebody on the board know. Okay. That's it for tonight.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for looking after our military children. I would also like to introduce Zach Potter from the Sanford Herald. Zach, thank you for joining us. And now if you would join me for a moment of silence as we reflect on the day's activity. Thank you, and please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no public comments, so I will proceed with our mission statement. Lee County Schools, in partnership with the community, will provide challenging learning experiences for students in a safe and supportive environment. We are committed to academic excellence, technological innovations, social responsibility, and lifelong learning. Our success will be demonstrated by the achievement of our students and their positive participation in society. I'd like to now share the code of ethics under which school board members serve. We must avoid the conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of the board. We must avoid the solicitation and/or acceptance of gifts in return for advice or assistance on matters concerning the operation or the business of the board. We must avoid the misuse of public funds, avoid misrepresentation or falsification of facts, and avoid making confidential information public. Is there a motion to approve the agenda for February the 9th, 2016?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda 2/9/2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The agenda is approved. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for January the 12th, 2016?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes from January 12th, 2016.
And is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved. I only have one item under Chairman's report, and it concerns our March meeting. As I'm sure everybody is aware, the Lee County Foundation is having its awards program on our regular meeting night, which would be March the 8th. And we have been requested to move our meeting back to March the 7th, which is a Monday. And I guess we can need a consensus of whether or not that, what the board's pleasure is.
I think sounds good to me if it's okay with everybody else. Mhm.
So we'll move our February meeting to March the 7th instead of March the 8th. Good. And now we can continue with the superintendent's report, please.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I'd like to ask Dr. Atkinson to come forward for the Clean School of the Month recipient.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's again a pleasure and honor to award our Clean School of the Month award to a first-time winner this year. We have J. Glenn Edwards. I see we're excited. I'd like to invite Ms. Womble up and her staff for the presentation. For her to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Atkinson, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Bryan, and members of the board. We're really excited. Our gentlemen have been working hard, and I'll call them up without further ado. Mr. Scott Godwin's our head custodian, Mr. Jeremy Wicker, and Mr. George Snipes.
Congratulations again to Edwards. Great job, guys. Great job. And Dr. Smith, I'm going to go a little bit out of order with my agenda report. I'd like to give the accountability update next. As we've gotten into second semester, we're working hard to keep things going. Our ACT prep is already underway in preparation for the March 1 test. Our middle schools are currently finishing up their benchmarks. That was interrupted just slightly by the snow a couple weeks ago, but I think we're back on track with that. High schools are getting ready to give benchmarks. That'll be during the first week and a half of March. And we're also in the process of doing some planning for some summer programs that we're getting ready to deploy in June and July. I think will be very beneficial for our students. Final thing I'd like to note of, our tutoring program is in full swing now. I'm getting ready to get a count from our principals tomorrow in our monthly meeting about how many students are being served. But I can assure you it's a very, very large number. We have a lot of students who are staying after school for tutoring. A couple of things to note of that are not sort of accountability related. We had a very successful AVID family night last week and went really well. Large turnout. great speakers, and our students, I think, gave a very powerful story for how successful they are and all the things that they're doing in school and what a difference it makes in their lives. And I know several of our board members were there, and I know certainly felt the same way, that how powerful it was. And on your consent agenda tonight, you also have our high school course selection guide. Not a lot of changes in that, just a few minor, some editing and a few minor additions, but it's pretty much the same. But we always continue to say it's new and improved, and we offer a vast array of courses for our students to take during the course of their high school career. We're very proud of that. The final thing tonight, a little bittersweet. I always enjoy giving out the Superintendent's Extra Effort Award, but tonight, although I'm glad to give it out, it's a little bittersweet, as I said. I'd like to ask Mr. Mark Stevens to come forward, please. Mark's our Chief Financial Officer, at least for a few more days. Mark is heading out to be assistant manager in Dunn, and we wish him all the very best in the world. But I thought I would take tonight and just say a few words about Mark and what he has meant to us as a school district, and just want to say how much we appreciate everything you have done here. And Mark walked in and I think immediately fit right in with everybody, and brought a very strong efficiency, and sort of kept everything going in a very positive direction, and obviously the results have been very evident to everybody, as you have seen from our audits that our outside folks have given us, and how well Mark and his staff have done. But Mark goes about business, I think, in a very service-oriented way, where people can come to him when they have issues, and he is able to give them a solution and work with them. And I just want to thank you for all of your efforts and hard work to Lee County Schools. And on behalf of this board, just wish you the very best in the future for everything that you do. Congratulations.
I'd just like to say to Dr. Bryan and Dr. Smith and the board education members, I can't thank you enough for those nice words. It means a lot to me. And I know that in my next career challenge, this job has helped me prepare for that even better. So I can't thank y'all enough for the support you got me and my staff. I've always had a special place for Lee County Schools in my heart, so thank you.
Well, special place for you as well, Mark. Thank you. And just
Andy,
so
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was
Go ahead.
just going to interject for a moment. I was also wanted to extend my gratitude because coming on as a new board member and being named to the finance committee, to say that I had a learning curve would be an understatement. I just appreciate your being willing to answer my questions and to educate me along the way. Working for the board for the Lee County Schools doesn't always mean you're a teacher, but in this case, you definitely had some things to teach me, and I appreciate the leadership. Appreciate that.
And I want to say also, as the chair of the finance committee, I want to just express my gratitude too. We always work well together. I don't have to call there for anything that he doesn't have the answer. So I appreciate the teamwork with which you work on that for the committee. Thank you very much. And we wish you good luck in the new place.
And just one more thing, Dr. Smith. Kelly Jones is here tonight. I'd like to have her stand. She'll be our interim finance officer, and looking forward to working with her. And she has worked arm in arm with Mark over the last couple of years, and I think we're in very good hands. So thank you. Concludes my report, Dr. Smith.
In that case, we can continue with committee reports, and I'd like to start with curriculum instruction. Mrs. Brogan, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last month, we did not have any report, but this month, we had 3 meetings, so we were pretty busy this month. I'm going to start with middle school. We had our meeting on January 13th, and it was at Eastleigh this time, and we talked about how Case 21 and new benchmarks, or how they will be on the end of grade tests. We talked about how the 8th grade science books have come in for our students. We also talked about how tutoring is taking off at the middle school level. And we also had an AIG update by Gail Smith and a best practice segment by Ms. Shuey, who's the principal at Eastleigh. And our next middle school meeting is February 17th for middle school. Then I'll move on to elementary. That was on January 20th at Greenwood. We talked about SR reading mastery in many schools, about how coaching is an important element and very helpful in that. We also had an AIG update for the elementary school principals by Gail Smith. And some of the things that she talked about was promoting specialists and bringing back specialists in every elementary school starting this fall, coming up in 2016. They also want to work hard, the AIG folks that are strengthening that program, Ms. Smith, they want to work hard on finding out how we can help our AIG students grow and what's keeping them from getting the growth that we would like them to have. There's also a Page AIG meeting coming up. It's in 2 nights on February 11th at First Presbyterian Church, and that's at 6:30. So we talked about that. Also, Warren Williams had 3 open slots still for pre-K. Get that out there. So they're looking to fill those slots. And the state also made some recommendations to Broadway's school improvement plan, and we talked about that as a committee, some of the recommendations that the state gave to Broadway. And their next meeting will be on March 9th for the elementary curriculum instruction. The high school meeting was here at Lee County High School, and it was on February 3rd last week. We had a AIG update as well for them, for the high school level, as well as a best practice by Chris Dawsonbach from Southern. And I forgot to mention the elementary best practice was by Stephanie Clark, who's the Bullock principal. And their next meeting for CNI on the high school level is April 6th. And I want to just say something real quick before I give up my time here with my report. That's pretty much my report, but I just want to say, kind of piggybacking on what Dr. Bryan said about the accountability report. You know, it's halfway through the school year, and this has been a critical year for us, and of course we've stated publicly many times that we weren't happy with our growth scores last year in our performance grades, and we want to do better, and we know we can do better. And Dr. Bryan gave us a plan last fall that focused on student support, teacher support, and overall support. And when you look at that plan, there's a lot to it. It's a lot of work in that plan. And there have been a lot of changes that have been made over the course of this year so far, and it's only February. But I just want to compliment all the district personnel on this, because it's been a huge undertaking. We've been working hard, and there's been a lot of changes made. And I just want to compliment everybody on the energy and the dedication and passion about moving forward with that plan and making those changes. And I know that it's going to take us a couple years to get where we want to be, but I know that we've got great staff here in Lee County, and we're working really hard. And I believe if we just stay focused and work together as a team, we can get to where we want to be in a couple years. So I just want to compliment them on that, because as I've been going around over the last couple months, going to the schools, and talking to teachers and principals, I feel that energy and I feel that passion, and everybody knows it's critical, and everybody wants, things to turn around and do better. And I can just feel that as I go around and talk to everybody, and I just want to compliment them on their hard work and their passion and dedication. I just wanted to add that, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Brogan. Let's continue with Facilities and Technology Committee. Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We held our last meeting on January 26th, and we heard a presentation from Larry Landry and his staff from Amoresco on energy savings. We also renewed our YMCA license agreement, and we looked at HVAC bids for Wesley Middle School and awarded systems contractors in the amount of $811,275 for this job, and we hope to get this job completed by August. We approved the Wesley Middle School HVAC lottery application in the amount of $300,000. And that's it, and our next meeting is February 23rd.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Let's continue with finance. Mr. Akanosho.
Yeah, we had our last meeting January 28th with the interim and the chief finance officer, Mark, and we take a few actions. Then we had the budget expense for the board member going to National School Board Association. We also had the audit contract for our auditors for the fiscal year 2015-2016. Then we also have the lease agreement on some of our leases that we have. That's the summary of what we did during the meeting. And our next board meeting will be on the 25th of February.
Thank you, Mr. Akanosho. Let's continue with policy. Mrs. Bowen, please.
The policy committee last met on January 19th, and we reviewed 3 policies that had come before our committee once before, had been sent back and revised to bring them in line with, there were a couple of policies that we had under the same name in 2 different locations, and so it was a recommendation to the committee that we consolidate those policies, and that's the case with the student health policy. And then another was the state, the policy that came down from the state regarding relationship with law enforcement didn't necessarily coincide with our relationship with law enforcement, and so it just took some wording, reworking to bring that in line with our memorandum of understanding with the Sheriff's Department. And so those 3 policies are coming before the board tonight under first reading, and then the policy committee also has that very large list on for second reading this evening. Other than that, those were the only policies discussed. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 18th. That meeting was initially scheduled for 16 February, but due to a conflict, we pushed that 2 days out. So we will next meet with policy on February 18th.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowen. We can now continue with the action items on our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move that we present the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved as presented. We can now proceed with unfinished business, and that would be board policy, second reading. And Mrs. Bowen, if you would like to take this and make the motion.
I'll be here a while. I'd like to move that the Lee County Board of Education approve the second reading of the following policies. Policy 1010, 1100, 1200, 1510/4200/7270, Policy 1720/4015/7225, Policy 2120, 2121, 2123, 2300, 2341, 6430/8730, Policy 7100, Policy 7405, 7810, 7920, 8000, 8100, 8510, 9000, 9120, and 9220. I missed the middle row. 2400, 3000, 3430, 3540, 4000, 4270, 4700, 5000, 5070/7350, 5071/7351, 6000, 6420/8720, and 6421.
Good job. Got it.
On approval of second reading. Thank you.
And would you like to make the motion?
I move that we approve those numbers
Okay.
on second reading.
And is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded, and for those in the audience, every one of these policies did get looked at thoroughly. That's a pretty
Yes.
long list, and the
Yes.
policy committee
Some
worked
of them multiple times.
that too. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The motion carries. These policies are approved on second reading. We can now proceed with new business. Here
Me
again,
again.
some more board policies. On the first reading, Mrs. Bowen, if you would like to present these.
I'd like to move that Lee County Board of Education approve the first reading of the following policies. Policy number 2320, 4520/6120, and 5120.
And is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on these policies for first reading? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The policies are approved on first reading. The next item under new business is the revised 2016-17 Lee Early College and Tramway Elementary School calendars. Mr. Dietrich is here for questions.
Good evening. How's everyone doing this evening?
Good.
We have to make just kind of one adjustment on the early college and tramways calendar. We need to make August 22nd a required workday so that they can all participate in the ceremonies at the Civic Center that we have.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Any questions?
August what?
22nd.
22nd. With that noted change, is there a motion to approve the calendars as presented with that change?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Lee County Board of Education approve the revised 2016-2017 Lee Early College and Tramway year-round calendars.
And is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The calendars are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dietrich. And Mr. Akinosho, if you would proceed with the motion, we can proceed with the closed session portion of our meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that Lee County Board of Education go to closed session for the purpose of discussing information that is privileged, confidential, or not a public record under NCGS Section 143.318.11, bracket A, bracket 1.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We can adjourn to closed session, please.